Yo, what up, what up? How you doing? It's Parn Hash with the check-in, and I'm out here on the land. And yo, let me tell you, 15 acres, it's a lot bigger than you would imagine, but also a lot smaller. Now you gotta be careful up here if you got long hair. You do not want to get ticks or other bugs up in the coif. And there are bugs. For all you city folks that want to come out on the land, you better be ready. Get your fucking sunblock and the bug spray, because it is not a joke. I'm gonna find a place to sit in a moment. But we are not in a park. We are not in a like fabricated environment. This is nature right here. Notice how high the grass grows. There's no flat field. I was talking to my homie Rob, who's down in Trinidad. He's building a house down there, and he was like, yo, y'all gotta remember the earth is not flat. And he didn't mean like Columbus earth flat, or how we need to prove the earth is round. But he meant like we're used to level everything, so that when you walk, there may be some hills, there may be a little incline, but up here, nothing is flat. You gotta keep your balance. And he was like, we gotta get rebalanced. So I appreciate Rob saying that, because you look at that decline, look at that incline. You hear these birds? So we're out here, 15.6 acres, Otsego County. We're in Fly Creek, New York. It's hot. You wondering why I'm wearing a sweatshirt? Because I want to make sure I do not get any ticks. And with the undergarments, see, he thought the tights were just for show. Goes right into the sock to make sure we don't end up with any little buggies. But it's dope up here. And I posted some photos of when I was driving up, or when Melissa was driving up, of some signs that were like heavily pro-Trump on our ride up, and anti-Cuomo. And I don't, I'm not a fan of any politician, so I'm not saying I dig Governor Cuomo. But that wasn't to then say that people are horrible up here. It's not to be like, yo, this is Trump country, be afraid. It's a reality of driving up, there's a billboard with McDonald's and a Trump sign. So why can't that Trump sign be replaced with Black Land Ownership sign? So when I'm raising money and when I'm doing these outreach campaigns and these programs, it doesn't go into my pocket at all. Like, none of the Black Land Ownership money goes into my pocket. It goes into an account. We started a company, Boundless Lands. We're in the process of trying to decide if we're going to be a 501c3, which is a not-for-profit that does community outreach. Are we going to be a land trust? Are we going to do a social club? There are a number of ways you can be tax exempt. And so we're trying to figure that part out. But any of the money donated goes to this so that we can purchase this land outright with no mortgage. We don't owe the bank anything. And that's only because of community. So thank you. Anyone who ever donated to Black Land Ownership, you helped us do this. And I mean, I'm gonna walk through the property while I talk so you get an idea of like how spacious this is. Again, we are not just in a little park. Oh, there are briars and things with thorns everywhere too. So you gotta be careful up here, and hopefully I don't hit a hornet's nest or anything like that. I've already seen a whole bunch of turkey feathers, and there are wild turkeys walking around. There's a whole lot of fallen trees, so I got the chainsaw. I'll be working that. And this is a conservation property, so we will not be able to build on it, in the sense of we are not trying to build a house. We are not trying to turn it into like a really large campground. We are allowed to camp on it. We are allowed to hike on it. And when I was posting those signs about like Trump and everything, is to let you know, like, this is a part of the state where it's a very small community. Really quickly, people know who you are. But it also means you can utilize these things to your advantage. So if there's a billboard and it's small and it's not a nationally owned billboard, but it's something local, then we can buy ad space and we can promote Black Land Ownership in a way that would be impossible to do in New York City. Like the ad space, or like somebody was like, you want to put up a billboard, contact Colossal Media. I know homies that worked for them. I know how much it costs to get them to paint a billboard, let alone how much it costs to then buy billboard space in New York City. That's way out of our budget. Whereas up here, we set up 1 or 2 signs off the side of the road on one of these major kind of thoroughfares going through Cooperstown. All of a sudden, Black Land Ownership gets known to all these people coming up for the Baseball Hall of Fame. All these people that are going to Oneonta College or coming up here for the snowmobile activities or what happens during the winter. And so I'm excited. And so I wasn't posting that stuff to be like, yo, be afraid, it's Republicanville up here, or Trump. It's the reality of like, yo, we up here, we can make a statement. We can actually stand out. We can have a voice out here that would be unique and needed. And we went to a little bar. It's called Roadside 23, and it was Roadhouse 23. And it was like that, like bikers and dudes with the long white beards that ride big motorcycles. But we ended up talking to the homies, and one cat was talking about like he builds his own cars and works on bikes, built his own house. Another cat we talked to moved up here from Brooklyn, worked in finance, worked for the MTA, and then him and his girlfriend had moved up here, who now own the bar. And everyone we spoke to was super friendly. Now, don't get me wrong. Another cat we talked to really quickly got into the God talk, really quickly got into the guns talk. But then he also got on the chemtrails and like maybe QAnon. I don't know. But I got to remind folks that being out here, we can't be closed-minded, right? If we are telling or hoping other people won't be closed-minded toward us, we then can't be closed-minded and assume that people out here are going to be rednecks, are going to be horrible people, and if they vote a certain way, that it means anything more than who they voted for. Now, I know it's real easy where we live to be like, well, if you voted for Trump, you must hate gay people. Is that flat, right? That's like being like, well, if you voted for Biden, you must hate America. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of those things really matter to me. I don't really care who you vote for. I don't like none of the politicians. But I will say, like, yeah, being black up here, you don't see a whole lot of black people. But when we talked about black land ownership, people have only shown positive support for it. I'm gonna walk around and show y'all some more of the property. And so over the next 2 or 3 months, while the weather is still nice up here, we invite people to come rock with us, come out here. We're gonna be cleaning up all these dead fallen trees. We're gonna be trying to set up a place to create an outdoor amphitheater. I think right down here, there's like a lower level that's a bit more flat where we'll be able to set up like, you know, some place for people to perform and rock out. I'll walk over to that area now. And then you'll be able to hike. This property goes all the way, like all the way. I'll walk with you a little bit. Let me take you up here. And so it's going to be different than what you're used to, but we welcome you to come rock with us. And it's been dope. We went into a couple little towns close by, talked to some people that run some bread and breakfasts out here. And let me tell you the game. Oh my goodness gracious. Cooperstown with the Baseball Hall of Fame, there are all these baseball camps that come out of here, right? And so one of the baseball camps has something like 50 teams play. Each team pays $18,000 to come to camp, right? So each team has, who knows how many kids, like 20, 30 kids. So each kid has to pay $1,000 per, like, and then each team has like 20, 30 kids. So each team pays $20,000 to come out. So the Bama who owns the facility where they hold the baseball camp, you do the math on that. 30 teams at $20,000 a week, okay? So you thinking like, oh, you in the middle of nowhere, you're around some hillbillies, you out in the cut. Yeah, Bama's out here is making bread, okay? And the people that come out here who are spending $1,000 per kid, they got to stay at an Airbnb. They got to stay at a hotel for a week. They got to find food for a week. They got to find stuff to do in order to keep their kids busy. Maybe this will be the area where we set up more of the hangout spot. You're gonna have to hike to get up here a little bit. But there is stuff going on out here. So one of the dudes we talked to, they work for 3 or 4 months out of the year. Then they go to Florida the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? They may be up here 4 or 5 months, and then they go to Florida. So I would say keep an open mind. Be aware there are a lot of options. Now, again, I'm wearing my protective gear because in this tall grass, there might be ticks, might be other bugs. But this looks like a perfect space for amphitheater. Uh-oh. It looks like we're going to have a lot of music popping out here. And do you hear any trucks? Do you hear any noise out here? Do you hear any other people? Nope. You hear birds. You hear wind. Yeah, so we out here. And this is all for y'all, for us. You know what I'm saying? Like for anyone who's ever donated to Black Land Ownership and you're wondering, why did you donate? It's so that we have this space. If you ever feel overwhelmed in the city, you're like, yo, I need to get the fuck away and where it's peace and quiet. What do you hear out there? What do you hear? Birds. And then there's a little water, a little stream right here. Tiny. And there's another flat area. So this is good. I think this should actually, this whole area has a lot of potential for amphitheater or flat space work. I was getting a little lazy. I didn't want to walk all up into the property. But we're going to be planning some trips out here. you know, if you don't drive, hop in the whip with us. If we got people that have vehicles that can fit multiple people, let's set up the carpool, because it is a good 3.5 to 4 hours away from New York City. But I mean, look at this, yo. We out here. And so again, for people like, yo, what are y'all doing with the money that got donated? Y'all been raising money for 2 or 3 years. You're right, we have been raising money for 2 or 3 years. And it was to be able to purchase this outright. No loan, no mortgage, nobody telling us anything. We just out here. And it's dope. Yeah. And all this, this is us. This is all black land ownership. So I'll be checking in with y'all. I'll be letting y'all know what's going on. And then we're going to be building, like right here, it's like there's natural seating. We just got to figure out how to really utilize it. But what's this right here? It looks like I'm chilling and I'm sitting down, and then I can watch people perform right over there through the trees, because we're not cutting down any trees. This is a conservation project, so we're not cutting down anything. Anyone who donated, it's literally for like every $100 you donate, we save 13 trees. And you might wonder the math on that, because we worked out how many trees grow per acre and how many acres we have and how much the whole property costs. And by donating to us or investing in us, you allow these trees to live, because we're not taking down anything. This is a conservation property. It's an easement. And so for people that have questions about that, I can explain. But folks will tell you, never buy property that's an easement. Never buy property with wetlands on it. Never buy property where you can't do everything you want to do. And I would advise against that. This whole property costs $20,000, right? You got to pay another $1,500 for your lawyer, another $1,500 to $2,000 in order to start your company. If you're going to buy land, start a company, unless it's, and so you're going to be paying, you know, an additional $1,500 for the legal stuff, another $1,500 to start your business properly. The property like this, $20,000, but it's 15 acres. And we don't have the responsibility of taking care of a house. We don't have the responsibility of making sure no one breaks in and steal our copper. We don't have the responsibility of like, well, now that we spent $150,000, we got to come out here all the time. How will we get 3.5, 4 hours away all the time? We still live in New York. And for people that don't know, if you try to get a home loan and you still have an apartment, you will not get a first-time home loan. What will happen is they're going to look at it as a secondary property or an investment property. So you will not get a 3.5 interest rate. You will not get only, you know, 10% down, 7% down. You'll be paying a lot of money because it's viewed as an investment property. Whereas with this, we ain't have to get no mortgage. We didn't have to go through a bank. We didn't have to deal with any outside entities approving our credit. We literally saved the money that was donated. Like the past 2 or 3 years, people have been donating. We saved all that money, had it in a bank account, found the property, and just paid the lawyer. Then just paid the person to start a business. And then had put the deposit down, and now we're waiting for title to clear. And then it's like hours. But as of now, we have like in the final, if there are 10 steps, we're in the 9th out of 10th step. And the 10th is when we just sign the final paperwork. And one of the reasons I went to that blockchain conference is to figure out how to speed up this titling process and to see if blockchain technology and some advancements technologically will allow for home ownership to work a bit more smooth. And we'll find out. We'll see about all that. But yeah, I'll walk a little bit more on the property. I'll show you. And there's so many fallen trees we're going to be able to go through, clean these up. It's 15.6 acres. Yeah. And so, I mean, and it's in a square, which is good. One issue that we found is like all these elongated properties are really narrow. And then you have neighbors everywhere. There are people around you. Whereas with this, it's one large square. The property next to us is a farm with only cows, no house. The property across the street is a farm, only cows, and an open field, no house. And so the closest house is down the road from us. So we don't see neighbors. We don't hear neighbors. Then there's actually a huge rental property at the top of the hill. So you think we're in the middle of nowhere, you in the woods. I mean, look at this shit. This is like out of the movies. By the way, if you want to shoot some films, you know, you come out here, it gets dark. It gets dark. Like I'm talking, you think of Blair Witch Project, it gets dark. You better get a flashlight, some headlamps. There's no lighting out here at night. And there probably are bears. We have seen deer. Oh, there's a chipmunk. We've seen deer, chipmunk, kind of ferret or some type of I don't know, small quadruped mammal with an elongated body running around. But all this, come shoot a film, come take photos out here. This is us. And it's chill. Nah, we are all the way up in Otsego County. So if you drive north from New York City, then go west, and you end up in Sullivan County. Like, it depends on how you go about it. You can drive up and then go over. So you end up going through Ulster to Sullivan, or you can go through Rockland and what have you. But basically, you get into Sullivan County, go up to Delaware County, and then go through Delaware County, you end up in Otsego. And it's technically kind of central New York. And it's next to Scullery County and then Albany County. Oneonta is near here. Cooper Sound, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is out near here. We're technically in Fly Creek, New York. So if you look on a map, you look up Fly Creek. And yeah, so as you see, it went from where I just was, which was all kind of lush and green and tall grass over there, to now a little pine forest and all this. And the smell of the pine trees, oh my goodness gracious, this is making my life feel so much better right now. I'm just smelling this, and the pine cones. And we got little, oh yeah, you guys smell the trees out here. These pine trees are amazing. Uh-oh. And yes, there are definitely clear signs of animals out here. We've seen little baby fawns, or sorry, you don't have a baby fawn, but baby deers, which are fawns. We've definitely seen wild turkeys, like 4 or 5 walking around. I found some turkey feathers over here already. I've seen some scat, which would lead me to believe that there are some larger mammals. I don't know if they are bears around here. I don't know what kind of larger mammals, but definitely there are some larger mammals. And so I'll keep going through the property, check it out. So yeah, yo, like if you get a chance, y'all got to come with us up here. The weather's going to be nice for the next couple months. Oh, and when we first got up here this trip, some guy pulled up in a truck. He's looking at us, we're looking at him, and I'm like, yo, we supposed to be here. Like, basically, he's trying to make sure he knew we legit. And he's like, oh, so I'm just out here looking for something. And we're like, what are you looking for? And he's like, I don't know if I should tell you, because if I do. And I'm like, what you looking for, big homie? And he's like, yo, they got Chantel mushrooms out here. Oh, no, he was like, mushrooms. And I was like, you mean like mushrooms like that you can sell for a lot of money at a restaurant, or fun mushrooms? He was like, edibles, not fun mushrooms. And I was like, oh, word? And in the next 10, 15 minutes, we saw this dude walk through the property next to us and just find a big ass bag. Like, he just kept picking mushrooms until he filled up like his little plastic bag full of fresh mushrooms that were growing. He was like, yo, after it rains, they're gonna be everywhere around here. And apparently there's ramps, which grow wild out here. And this cat forages for most of his food. So you can find ramps, you can find this garlic type of plant, you can find mushrooms. Once it's fishing season, you just go fishing in a nearby lake, and you don't have to go to the grocery store all the time. Now keep in mind, Parnhash, the 4-toed oracle, is out here trying to keep balance, because this is a nice little incline. And I know people will be like, well, you only lost your pinky toe. Yo, the human body is made to have all its parts normally. And then, so you go right from the pine forest where that is right there. And all of a sudden, look how green this is. Look at this. And then there's ferns everywhere. All right. So we're going to figure out how to get it popping. There's also a big outgrowth over there. I'm going to walk the property with y'all. I'll see what's going on. And hopefully I'll stay safe. There is a lot of undergrowth. I have protective gear on. I have tights that go all the way to my socks. Socks go into the shoe. And then long sleeve shirt. It's hot. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because I do not want to get eaten by all these bugs or end up with ticks, which are real out here. But then again, we go right back from that really green area, and now we're back with the pine forest. See, in the areas with the pine, it's more clear. There aren't as many plants, so we could definitely set up the amphitheater. But yeah, you see, this is a nice little incline I've been walking. And if you want to get exercise, yo, we are on it. Come up out here, hang with us, do some walking, some hiking. Real quick, you get your heart rate going. Real quick, you work on your balance, your dexterity, your mobility. Yeah, and I haven't even walked, I don't know what percentage of the plot yet. And I'm already like huffing and puffing. And I stopped smoking a long ass time ago. So, yeah, but this is tight. I have to go to DC in another like day or two, but we're coming back. I think we're gonna spend a lot of time up here. And uh-oh, is this a flat area? This might really be where we set up some of the performances. And the end game is to bring out people and get them reacquainted with nature so that when they see these plants on the ground, they know what type of plants these are. And we know which ones are edible, which ones aren't. We know which ones are poisonous, which ones aren't. It's funny, like we look at indigenous folks and people that don't live in our types of communities and think they're ignorant, but they know a whole lot more about the planet than we do. And they be able to tell you, you know, what these tracks are right here, because these are definitely tracks in the mud. And I don't know what kind of animal left those. And it probably behooved me to know that. And you can see where the ground has been trampled. So there's definitely a not small animal that came through here. And I think we're in a part of the country where there are not many snakes. So I'm not super worried walking through. But Bamans do have guns out here, though. Keep that in mind. Like for the animals and for each other. Bamans do have guns. Because I was talking to somebody, ooh, look at these little wildflowers. Hold on. We just found some of these joints. Yeah, I don't even know what they called. So we got to bring the experts out. Yeah, and wherever there's like little pieces, like little bits of water, they're like little streams that go through here. You can see the animal tracks where they come and they drink by the little tiny streams. But I'm excited. Like I've only lived in cities. I grew up in DC, lived in Atlanta, lived in New York. So I don't even know about all this, but I'm learning. And hopefully I'll be able to get back to where I just came from. Oh, look at this big ass mushroom. And ferns. And for all the people that are like, yo, nature's so beautiful. It is. Nature's also unforgiving. So that if you bust your ass out here, you're going to be out here. There is no one that's going to hear you scream and yell. The bugs are serious. Now look at this wall for performance. Are you serious? We got a natural backdrop right here. Oh my goodness gracious. Part and hash out here popping. For my popping populations. For the prophets with no profits in their pockets rocking stages. Ah! We're going to be performing out in the woods, dog. It's amazing. And it shelters you from the sun. So right here is where we could build some type of shelter. Use this wall, you know, put like a little tarp going out. And then bam, if it rains, we still got some coverage out here. We are not allowed to build a house on the property, which actually works to our advantage so that we don't have to worry about building a house. We don't have to fret. Oh, and look at this on this side. All right, so now you get to see how nature works. I'm going to show y'all something. Parnhash nature stories right here. You see how this tree fell? Oh yeah, we got thorns and a motherfucker out here. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you the other side of it. I gotta figure out what these type of thorn bushes are. And then this is with the backside. So once the joint came uprooted. Yeah, we out here. So for the people that know me from rocking shows, that know me for being in the club at 3 in the morning, that know me from going to the party at midnight, that know me from I rap your face off, I still rap your face off. I don't know if I'm gonna be in the club at 4 in the morning these days. I might be out in the woods at 3 in the morning, at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I might be learning how to run a chainsaw. I might be figuring out how to clear some of this dead wood so we make an amphitheater. I may be out here trying to learn what we can eat, what's forageable. I may be trying to figure out how to get my health right and stay chill. Cause like, yo, in the city, people like getting amped. People like having arguments. People like having conflict, you know? And I'm over it. Like, unless it's about life, death, or like real shit, what are we arguing about? You wanna argue about a basketball team? You wanna argue if the Knicks are better than the Nets? You wanna argue about whether Jordan is a better basketball player than Kobe? You wanna argue? I ain't arguing about that. I wanna understand what the fuck happened right here. What has the power to split this tree like this? You know what I'm saying? I'm out here in the wilderness and this is ours. This isn't parkland. This isn't national forest. I ain't gotta worry about a state trooper. I don't gotta worry about anybody with a gun. You can't hunt on these lands. That's another reason why we purchased it. None of our neighbors are gonna be shooting. But I'm out here trying to learn about our land. And it's wild, yo. I mean, oh, there's some more. I'll show you some more of the mushrooms. Now I need to head back towards where the chainsaw and my other equipment is. Not like I'm worried someone's gonna steal it, but I'm worried I'm gonna get lost. Yeah, I think it may have been just heavy winds because it doesn't look burnt. The tree doesn't look burnt like it got hit with lightning, but it may have been blown over. But look at these. Hold on. There's life. There's life everywhere out here, which is also really inspiring. Hearing all these birds. You know, the bugs are heavy, but you haven't seen me freak out yet. They're not that bad. Now, again, there are mosquitoes out here. There are flies. There are, I don't know what type of bugs. I've seen all types of shit I've never seen before flying around. But it's not but so bad. You see me, I'm out here chilling. And, you know, I'm a city boy to the fullest. But we out here. And some other people have been out here. I am seeing some refuse, some like leftover trash. And this is really helping me understand how conservation and humanity can work together. Because like a lot of times growing up, it seemed like the Save the Planet people didn't give a fuck about black people. And the people that were working in community work and social justice were like, yo, I can't be worried about saving the fucking whales. The police still killing us as black people. Well, I'm trying to handle both ends of that problem and say, as black folk, we want generational wealth by land. And even if it's conservation land, you can get funding and tax breaks from the government if you own conservation land. You can get away and come get your mind right and have access to spaces to then manage your mental health if you own land and can get out of these major cities. When we think about rural areas, oh yeah, we're gonna be popping. Hold on. You see this little view? You see, we up here on the ridge right now. When you got land, ain't nobody out here. These plants and trees aren't being racist. These plants and trees aren't being sexist. These plants and trees aren't hating queer folks or trans folks. I hear woodpeckers in the background. You know what I'm saying? These mosquitoes like us. These ants like us. They're trying to eat. And by owning this land, though, in the future when we sell it, then that generates capital for whatever endeavors as we get older. And when we think about rural areas, a lot of times folks are like, fuck the South, it's all these rednecks. Fuck upstate, it's all these rednecks. Yeah, but there are a lot of black people that live down south. So I'm up in New York State. I'm not ready to go to Alabama yet. I'm not ready to go to Mississippi. I'm not ready to go to Louisiana. But to the homies down in Louisiana, to the homies in Mississippi, to the homies in Georgia, we need to get it popping and have this group activity so that we have these natural spaces all around the country where we can go. And if we're in New York State, upstate, come holler at us near Cooperstown. If we in Georgia, holler at the homie who's in Georgia. If we're in Alabama, holler at the homie who's down there. And I know the idea of a timeshare with campgrounds or with like natural preserves, nature preserves, isn't something we really tried before. But I'm on that. Like, just like with rap, I'm on some can't stop, won't stop. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop the profit. We got an idea, we make it happen. And we are those who do what has never been done before. So no matter what it is, a person could be like, yo, well, no one's done that before. I know, we rap. We gonna make it happen. And we'll work together to do it. Because I don't know how to do all this. Like, I'm looking at it now, like, how are we gonna clear all these fallen trees? You can't get a car up here. There's no road. There's no way we can remove these logs. But I don't know, maybe we get a horse and we'll attach them to horses. I don't know what we're gonna do to clear some of this space out. But we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna work together to figure it out. And anyone who wants to come up here, it's available to you. And I want to set up an online vehicle so that even when we're not here, you just sign up, you let us know you're going to be here, and you come up. And we give you the rules and let you know what you have to do in terms of not damaging the property, what you are and what you are not allowed to do in terms of dealing with the local fauna and flora. Oh, more flowers. Hold on. And then if you want to donate, we'll have a way for people to donate. We also want to have like sculptures around here. We want to have like little scavenger hunts set up, be able to have like a box down at the front where people want to donate, they can. But really, it's all love. Like the other beauty of not taking out a loan and not having a mortgage is we don't have to worry about profiteering. We don't have to worry about, well, how do we make the money back? How do we cover the rent every month? How do we cover the mortgage every month? There's no mortgage. We paid outright. You know what I'm saying? And how we do that is because people donated and because of support from the community. We can't, I don't know if we can use ATVs in certain part of this land because there's so much fallen material. We'd have to clear paths to even ATV. Like right now, I'm having trouble walking through here. There's so much stuff that's on the ground and that's falling. Maybe we could ATV. I have to check with the land trust. So one thing is when you buy property that's in a conservation easement, it's overseen by a land trust. And the land trust is the organization that makes sure that the easement is upheld. Oh, these are birch trees, I think. So there's strong wood up here. We have some good hardwoods. And I don't know a whole lot about like woods and everything else, but there's some strong hardwoods up here. A lot of the trees that have fallen are not like rotted and like all soft and crumbly. They're still like really hard. I tried to chop some and it was not easy. And so we have to clear a lot. Like if you want to do stuff or like if you want to have ATVs, if we want to put in trails, if we want to do anything besides leave it the way it is, we kind of have to get permission from the land trust, which is why people would say don't buy land that's an easement. But for us, we don't want to do anything but appreciate the land. We want to keep these trees and these plants and these animals alive. So it's okay that we can't build, that we can't really disrupt it too much. And as you see, I'm able to walk around relatively easily. I have almost fallen a couple times. But yeah, I mean, you see it. There are a lot of down trees. I think this past year and a half was kind of hard with the weather and the strong storms. But it feels good walking through here. I'm getting my heart rate up. This is good for the four-toe wonder, part hash, 4 toes on the right foot, keeping my balance in the incline, decline. And yeah, the earth is not flat. Like we are so used to flat ground. We're so used to being able to have a path that's already identified for us. The world is not like that. And so, I mean, look at that metaphor right there. Think about how in your own life, you know what I'm saying? We always walk the path that's already been laid before us, but that's not what the majority of the world is. And we can make our own path. Yeah. And so I got to figure out how to get back where I started, though. Ooh, more wildflowers. And so it's dope. I'm just finding stuff as I walk through. And there are frogs up here. Yeah, I like these little flowers. And we're going to figure out what we are able to eat out here. Teach classes on how to forage. Because some of these plants are edible. Some of them will poison you. So you got to be careful. Whew. And it just feels good, yo. Like, I've been in cities so much. I spent so much of my life in cities that this is like a little adventure for me. And ain't nobody up here arguing with me about nonsense. Yeah, I'm out here chilling. Now in a second, I'm gonna try to get this chainsaw started again. I've been having trouble with it, but I'm gonna figure out the chainsaw. It may take me a couple of days, it may take me a few tries, but I got some work to do with the chainsaw down in DC. So even if I can't figure it out while I'm on the land, it's all right. So yeah, this whole time I've been walking, I've been on the property. We haven't left our property yet. And I haven't even walked the full perimeter, all right? So I'm telling y'all, we out here. And I need to figure out how to build benches. If anybody knows how to do woodwork, we have all this fallen material. How do we turn it into furniture? How do we turn it into useful material, right? Because nothing should go to waste. I'm not in a scenario where I want to throw shit away. I'm not in a scenario to where I just want to light it on fire. I want to try to figure out how to build, how to use all this. And even if it is to then sell as firewood or as wood chips or what have you, we can do that. But I need some folks who understand how to use this outdoor material, and we work it out. All right, so I'm going to head back over here to where I started from. I do have the sensor navigation. I don't know if it's magnetic, electric. And also with conservation land, if you work with a forestry partner, you are allowed to timber it. So I believe every about 15 to 20 years, depending on the size of the trees, the type of the trees, you can timber and harvest. And apparently people make a good amount of money doing that. I've heard, definitely more than $50,000. So if the property itself costs $20,000 and we're able to timber it once every 10 years for $50,000 and the taxes are only $1,000 a year, then in 10 years, we would have paid $10,000 in taxes. We would have paid $20,000 for the space. we timber it once and get 50,000, well then we made 20 G's. That's not a lot, but that covers the cost of the property. And we don't have maintenance. What do you pay to maintain this? Nothing. It maintains itself naturally. All right, Melissa just got back. She went doing some reconnaissance. Melissa, say what's up.